Black cisgender heterosexual identified men are killing Black trans women. Black ones.
We are not talking about it in the church.
Those street guys are already engineers. If they're mixing drugs and stuff together, they're chemical engineers.
If you're just like, yeah, let's kill 50 cops just because, you know, that's only a fraction of the Black people that they killed. Wait, now you're talking about my wife.
For those of you who are joining in, we are talking about just the housing in the Black community and owning property, why it's important, and how to get yourself in there.
When I think of financial literacy, I just don't think of the classroom work. I think some of it is practical application.
I'm scared, especially, you know, calling them to arms, talking about poll workers or poll watchers. That is rooted in history of voter suppression and intimidation.
Joe Biden needs to make that a part of his educational platform.
Call that shit out.
I don't see much value in you speaking in tongues, and yet when you speak in English, you don't say nothing for my people.
Many of the reasons why we're dying is because of the conditions we live under that cause our health to be so bad, and that cause it's the food, it's the water, it's clean that shit up first.
When their fathers had prostate cancer, I had like a 150% chance of getting cancer, being diagnosed with cancer. I had a friend that did a raw vegan diet, 20 years remission, had thyroid cancer, never had surgery. I'm like, that's what I'm doing.
This week in Black People Shit, Love in the Age of Corona. I'm your host, Christy Ferris. In this fragmented world we are forced to adjust to, where just giving someone a hug could possibly cost them their life, I was wondering, how is everyone coping with this new social distancing way of life? Today, I am here with actress Janora McDuffie.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Ted Lange, the legendary Ted Lange, who's a writer, director, actor. There you
go.
Hello.
Happy to be aboard.
And writer Abdul Majid. Everybody, welcome to the show, Black People Shit.
All right, now.
Yay. So how's everybody doing? How are you managing this new quarantine lifestyle?
It has been a struggle. Things like this make the struggle a little bit easier. It's been a beautiful way to connect in this weird space and reinvent ourselves. But it's definitely been a roller coaster. And I think part of my downtimes have been feeling the weight of the world and the health issues, the mental health issues specifically of others. But I am happy to still be above water and be connected with you all today.
Great. How about you, Ted?
Well, we're doing okay. My wife and I are quarantined in the house, and that's when you find out if you've got a strong marriage or not, because you're with your old lady all day long. But we've organized the day, so we have certain things that we do. Like in the morning, she teaches class, and I go for a run. So what we've done is we've divided up the days. I have to tell you, I'm coming at this from 1960s San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley Bay Area kind of point of view. And we're used to white folks messing shit up. So so I sat down with my old lady and I said, okay, we're going to organize out what we have to do. And she knows she has to teach at a certain time. And I have projects that I'm working on. So what happens is it's given me time to work on my projects.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Make sure that you guys continue to keep making comments and everything. Abdul, how about you?
It's been interesting. I know personally that the COVID-19 touched a lot of the people that I know. I had some family members pass away. I had some friends pass, some friends of a friend. So the reality of it, not to bring the tone down, but the reality of it hits home pretty much. So I tried my best to social distance and do all the requirements that you need to do. And my family's from Brooklyn. And so they're in the epicenter of it. My brother lives in Jersey. My other brother my family's from Jersey and Brooklyn. So I know a lot of people who it's touched directly. I know a lot of other states, didn't get the amount of deaths and the amount of people getting COVID-19 like the tri-state area did. But all things being said, my immediate family, they're all good. They're all really good, healthy. They're essential workers. My brother's an engineer. My other brother's a vice president of a bank. So everybody's doing, okay, but the death part of it.
Abdul, have you been checking in with them on the East Coast?
I have. I actually check up on them every week to see how they're doing. See, here's the thing about it though. Like my family have the luxury of being able to quarantine themselves because of their particular jobs, or the fact that some of them are somewhat affluent. The area. My family own a brownstone, several brownstones, so they don't have to be around anybody. Where the people that I know outside of that, they live in they live in projects, they live in apartment buildings, they live, right next to one another. So for them to be able to social distance properly, for them to be able to go to the store properly, even in some neighborhoods, if you go to certain areas of Brooklyn or certain areas of the Bronx, they have like food deserts. Like there's nothing that they can get healthy to eat. So it attacks their immune system. So a lot of those things are problematic from that standpoint. But my own family, my immediate family, they have the resources and the luxury to not be able to deal with those sort of things. So,
yeah, that's some serious stuff. For me, I know like that first week I was doing a show with Ted, and man, all of a sudden we were there, and the next thing you know, we was gone. It was like, wow. Yeah. I was like, okay. And then as soon as I returned back home, I had a couple of friends that had parents that had passed, and then I got a little depressed, and my significant other, his family member had passed actually like last week. So, I mean, it had been a tough time. And then I was like, okay, well, what can I do to get myself out of it? And then it was like, well, I think you need to go back and do Black people shit, because everybody kept talking about it. Yeah, they were like, hey, what you gonna do Black people shit? So now
we were doing Fences in Syracuse, New York, rehearsing at when they shut down the theaters. They told us at 11 o'clock, and by 1:30, Christy and I were at the airport that day, and we were wearing masks. And I have some Republican friends that made fun of me on Facebook for wearing the mask, and now look what they're doing.
The great thing about Chris, Christy
wearing the mask.
Is that when trouble comes, Christy knows how to haul ass. It doesn't take a lot for Christy to get out of there.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's the truth. But I think that's one thing that makes things so weird now is what is going on? Do we wear masks? Do we not wear masks? Are we out of this? Are we not out of this? What are folks doing? So as we come out, not just physically, but also mentally, there are these other things that keep pushing us back in, or now keeping us divided.
Well, I think if you're the president, you shouldn't wear a mask. And every time he does it, I'm probably the only one that's happy about it. And they're mad at him, but I'm not mad at him at all. It just makes him that much more susceptible, and that's cool with me. And the ones, what's interesting is it's the conservative people who are getting pissed off about wearing a mask. And then when the election rolls around in November, we're going to see if they're here or if they're not here. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't mad at them for not wearing a mask, particularly if they're really conservative.
Right. Well, it's an interesting time. Talking about relationships, though, Ted, and yours in quarantine, there was a very interesting relationship. I'm sure one of many that I'm going to segue into. Yes, the title of this segment is called Love at Gunpoint. I'm going to call out Baltimore Ravens football player Earl Thomas. He was held at gunpoint by his wife when she caught him cheating during quarantine. Apparently, Earl's wife, Nina, discovered a video of him cheating with another woman on his Snapchat account. So she used Snapchat to find his location, took her two girlfriends, didn't roll solo, rolled up with her posse to confront him at an Airbnb at gunpoint. So hopefully, Ted, it didn't get any of those shenanigans.
Well, you know what happens is that's how you find out how well you really know your wife, is when she's got a gun pointed at your head, and the next thing you say, you better be careful.
Yeah, is that love? Is that crazy? Is that a little bit of both?
You better
I know. So now I'm thinking, who would be my road dogs? I think Natasha would be my road dog. I got my sisters would be my road dog. Cause I'd be like, wait, what? Cause now here's my thing. I'm like, wow, you know, Corona is the new STD. You know what I'm saying?
Huh? That's interesting, right?
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Corona
good,
is the new STD.
That's good.
Yeah,
so I ain't mad at you for bringing something else home, but you could bring the Corona home,
right?
Right.
That's
a bit much,
good,
though.
Yeah, man. I'm
so
like,
is he still alive, or did he?
From what I understand, based on the story, he is still alive. She did not pull the trigger. She said she emptied the magazine before she rolled up in there with her girls, but apparently there was still a bullet in the chamber. So it's a really dangerous situation. She and her two homegirls did get thrown in the slammer. He went away. She's out now, and apparently they're working things out.
Yeah. Do you know that after she got out of jail to apologize, she bought him a gold necklace. She bought him a gold rope.
Oh man!
Yeah, well,
boy, that's rough.
That's some making up for you, I guess. But I wonder what his apology was, or did he have to apologize? Like what kind of situation that was?
He's a millionaire. You don't have to apologize if you're making millions.
Ouch!
Ooh,
that's the rules of the game.
Wait, Tangerine.
Right to the bank account. Just give me a close up on the bank account.
Tangerine said he probably was cheating more while she was in jail. And wait, I don't know if people know about the story, but he was in bed with his brother and these two other women. So your brother is with you cheating.
Yeah. His brother's the one that hooked it up, and the only reason he got caught because of his Snapchat, but his brother is actually the one that hooked up the whole situation. So
yeah, and how tight is your game if you're getting caught on Snapchat? Like that's a little strange.
That's pretty sloppy. But he gets hit in the face a lot. He's a football player. He gets hit in the head a lot. We got to give him a little bit of leeway.
Well, here's the thing, y'all. Stop doing these little young kids stuff and getting yourself in trouble, because Snapchat, all these is gonna get you in trouble. I never forget one time somebody that I know was dating someone, and you know, now with Facebook, if you are in the same vicinity of certain people, it'll give you a suggestion and it'll say, hey, you should friend this person. Well, she found out through Facebook, sending a friend suggestion, it was actually the woman that he was seeing.
Ooh.
So that's how she found out, because she got a friend suggestion and there was a picture of him and her on there. She was like, oh, you over here cheating on me? So up. Oh yeah, for real. So it is all good.
Speaking about Snapchat, did you guys hear the story or hear the story that Tiffany Haddish and Common they opened up the relationship through an app called Bumble? They went on a virtual date on Bumble. They went to dinner via the Snapchat or via the Bumble. They danced. They did all sorts of stuff. I think there's a video footage of it.
We got a video. Let me just make sure. Hold on 1 second. Just make sure I got the share audio on. There we go. Here we go.
My first virtual date.
I'm putting on a black dress.
She see my feet. I don't want anybody to see these feet.
I would love to take you on a virtual date. Well, let's go. Hello. Welcome to the virtual dating world.
You look very beautiful.
You're looking very handsome yourself. I was thinking about waxing my eyebrows and stuff, but I realized I don't know how to do that.
The fact that we can't be in the same place right now just to get to see you and be with you is great. I'm hoping you can feel the vibes through the Bumble app.
So I guess my question is, are you guys open to virtual dating if you were single? Not now, Ted, because you don't want to get shot in the face by your wife.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to.
I don't get shot in the face either.
Oh yeah.
Janora is married. So I have to say, I met my significant other right now on Bumble. So I'm all, I did.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm all about, getting on there and seeing what's up. And it's so funny because, I mean, you do have to be careful because I remember several years ago, I met some crazy dude that was like super crazy. So I believe in like, the reason why I like the virtual dating is because you get to know the person before you even meet up. Because I'm not trying to get nobody my address, no nothing. You ain't got to pick me up. I will meet you because we don't know who's crazy out there. So I got lucky.
I hate that.
What'd you say?
No, I hate that shit. I would never virtual date. It's FaceTime with sandwiches. That's all it is. Why do I got to pay for a phone call? You got to buy lunch and put out money. Like, y'all want to be wined and dined during the pandemic. That's the wildest shit I've ever heard.
Well, that's the long game, Abdul. They're playing the long game.
They're playing the long game, and it becomes economic.
That's not immediate,
Yeah.
See, I'm from the school of we're going to go over to this bar or to this disco. You got to be able to talk really well. You got to figure out how to engage in conversation, and then hopefully you get rewarded. But this is the long game, man, where we ain't getting rewarded right away.
Yeah, it's a super long game. But at least with this type of long game, it's not, I meet you on an app, I take you out, just like you said, and I've spent money, and from the first date, you're not the one. At least you're forced to get to know each other instead of making things physical too fast, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, what's the difference between this and back in the day? They just had conversations over like, you fall asleep on the phone, you go to sleep. No, you go to hang up first. No, what's the difference? Why do you need the?
Well, I think the difference is you eventually, you're going to see that person that you fell asleep with on the phone quicker than maybe now, because I got to really like you if I'm going to take my time and see you, because I'm putting my health at risk potentially.
But don't you have things like, for me, smells bother me. So how can I know smells? Like if I go to somebody and I meet them and they have like a perfume that I don't like, automatically I'm turned off because the smell of it I just don't like it.
Well, they do say scientifically you'll know if they're the right person if their smell doesn't bother you when they're like sweating and stuff like that. So like if your father is sweating, like if my father or my brothers are sweating, most of the time I'm like, oh, you guys stink. But your significant other, your spouse, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't bother you as much. So that's actually something scientific behind that.
Is this before or after you decide you like him or her?
I think that is even before you decide. You know what I mean? And also maybe afterwards too, because, I actually take that seriously. I'd be like, nah, I don't like the way you smell. It's a wrap.
Hey, but if you were really feeling him, I think you could get by. I mean, that might be a natural sign, but when you're really feeling somebody, you might let it slide.
You might. You never know.
Or you pick out cologne. You say, hey, have you ever, here's a birthday present. Here's a, you know what I mean? Try this.
I say get straight to the butt, nigga sex. You can
Oh my Lord.
Listen, I just want to change the subject just a little bit. I want to go from there, relationships, to the relationship that Joe Biden was going through when he was being interviewed by a dude named Charmaine the God, where they were asking Charmaine.
Charlemagne.
Charlemagne was asking Joe Biden why he should vote for him, and Joe Biden made the statement that if you have a problem figuring out if you're for me or for Trump, you ain't black. Now, my question is, were you guys offended by Biden saying something like that?
Hold on. Well, let me play it for you guys so you can see what's up.
You gotta come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community. I would love to see.
Take a look at my record, man.
Well,
so how you feel about that? How you feel about Biden saying that?
I think white people do what white people do. At least he said you ain't black. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And then now they got offended by that. But white people are constantly saying wild shit, doing wild shit. So I'm not surprised that someone would say that, especially a guy like that who has all the gaffes in the world, who said crazier shit before about other different topics. It's par for the course with this guy. I think the real question is how seriously do we take him with the black vote? Because the end part of it was, what are you going to do for the black community? And he never really got to that. And I'm more concerned.
Yeah, but I mean, you also, what we used to talk is about when we voted. I remember when we had to deal with Nixon, it was about the lesser of two evils, you know? And so when you're dealing with Trump as opposed to Biden, what is the lesser of the two evils? I mean, do you want someone like Trump or someone that has a relationship with he was VP to Obama? So I mean, there's a certain kind of a cachet that he already has there.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt that Biden is the lesser of the two evils, but that still doesn't give him a pass for saying that. And it does offend me when somebody not white is saying somebody not black is saying what black is and what black isn't when you're not black. I did watch today his apology, which was very interesting because I actually did not see this clip. I heard about it, but I didn't see it. In his apology today, my days are running together in quarantine. Whole point I'm saying, I think it was yesterday, that he said he was, they were just joking, vibing off each other, huh? And when I watched that, Charlamagne shut him down. He wasn't playing the ha, that was funny game. He shut him down. So in his interview, or his apology, he did say he had to earn the black vote.
And for me,
the problem with Biden is he doesn't know how to deal in a certain way. And what I think he was trying to say is, will you be voting against your own best interests? And that's what's typical with Republicans, particularly Republicans that ain't in the 1%. These young white Republicans are always voting against their own best interests. And that's why he kept going back to his record. He just said it badly. He said, well, look at my record. No. Well, we know what it is, But the question is, the way he should have phrased it is, I feel that you would be voting against your own best interests by voting for this guy. But he's known for gaffes. I mean, this guy, every time he walks into a room, he's, you got to be careful with him,
Yeah, and for me, I'm sorry, you want to?
I was just going to say, I'd rather take Joe Biden's gaffes than
the one that's in there.
Because I don't think they're gaffes. I think that's his personality and whack. And
I think for me, I just feel like, I think now he knows what code switching really is about. Because that's basically what he was doing. He was code switching. He was trying to act like he had some, like, yo, what's up? And trying to do all that. And he got caught up in it. And it kind of went the wrong way. However, I'm torn because Charlamagne the God, he definitely is like, look, you need to get the black agenda out there. Like, what are you going to do for us? You're not going to get our votes if you're not going to do these right things. But I think sometimes, and here's the thing that I'm trying to figure out, if it's a good thing to say something like that, or if it's a bad thing to say something like that, because some people might not watch his show every single time. And they might just take that one little bite that because he just put out a whole bunch of stuff that Joe Biden said a long time ago, calling people thugs. Like, these thugs need to be in jail. So he was like, yeah, you're talking about look at my record, but he brings up these old things that he did. So now my question is, Charlamagne is showing this stuff about Biden. Is it going to keep people from going to the polls to vote? That's my thing.
I thought more it was more along the lines of get them to put something in writing that they would do for us, like force them. I think it was maybe Jesse Jackson who said that you have to force them to. No, it was Kennedy. I'm sorry, it was JFK said you want something, make me do it. You have to force me to do it.
That was FDR.
FDR, yeah. He said, you have to force me to do it. So I think that's what Charlene was attempting to do. He was attempting to force this guy to make a public statement of the things that he was willing to do, the things he would put on paper, because a lot of things that he said in that interview were false. He said, look at my record. And then he talked about the 94 crime bill. He said that wasn't his fault. And that's absolutely not true. If you look at any statements that he made leading up to that, or leading up to the 94 crime bill, where he said stuff like, you know how it's hard on the black community, but I don't care if you had issues or father's not home. If you need to be put in jail if you're gonna hit my mother over the head. And he made these cavalier statements about black people, and then now he wants those same black people who he put in jail, who had no fathers, who to now vote for him. And I believe Audrey Harris said it was his arrogance that bothered her. And to me, that's the same thing. It's the arrogance and just the cavalierness of him coming out and said, it's me or nobody.
That's why Elizabeth Warren was so good, is because you would ask her a question. She said, I have a plan for that. And then she'd tell you what the plan was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think it's way past time for us to get a woman in the White House.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got to be the right one.
Exactly.
A female running mate. So hopefully that'll be true. And if she ain't black, I mean, hopefully she'll be black. But if she ain't black, I hope it's Elizabeth Warren.
Well, in this interview, they straight up asked him whether or not it was going to be a woman of color, and he wouldn't answer. So that was very interesting. Yeah.
So Natasha said, what's Trump's black agenda? Why are people tripping? Get over it. I think at this point is getting that idiot out of office.
Well, Trump is he hires the black people that he hires, he puts in positions where they become incompetent. And I'm thinking mostly of the House, the urban development. What's the doctor's name? He should have been doing. Ben Carson, is a doctor, and he put him in urban development. Come on,
I think the most important thing with this election that people need to realize, it's not just about Trump being an idiot, and that's the nicest way I've ever talked about him. It's about the decisions that he will have to make if he's reelected, and that is filling the Supreme Court. And if he fills another seat or potentially another 2 seats in his next 4 years, that's changing the laws of the land.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction. That's Roe v. Wade. That's our voting rights as black folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's much more at stake than just him being this orange asshole.
I would push back on Natasha's statement a little bit with the fact that why are people tripping? And I think the fact that you got a guy who's going to harm you, and then you got a guy who has harmed you.
Yeah.
So you're putting those two up against, you're juxtaposing those opposed one another, and then you got to ask yourself which one will do me less harm. And that's not a way you should be using your vote.
I think we should be looking at this through a Russian lens, because this guy loves Putin, and the Russians didn't have to put one soldier in New York City to kill all the people that the coronavirus has killed. His mishandling of the virus has helped our enemy. His dismantling of our institutions has helped our enemy. And people, they don't outright call him a traitor, but they hint at it. They say all roads lead to Russia, Moscow Mitch. They won't talk about these guys, up front. They dance around the issue, but it's all through a Russian lens. And someday it's going to come out what Putin had on him. That's what I know from being from the 60s, that eventually it all comes to light.
Specifically with regards to Joe Biden, though, I would like some meat on my plate. I think if you look at the Democratic votes for since Kennedy, we've been helping and we've been helping and we've been helping, and the things we've been helping getting into office, we are the majority of the constituents from a particular group of people who've been voting for him. If you look at the last election, I think black women were like 98%, black men were like at 92 or 88%, something to that effect. White people were like at 50%, white men were like at 45%, Asian were like at 50%. So we've done enough throughout the years to make him make a statement that says we will do X, Y, and Z for you. I don't think they had a problem when Reagan said no new taxes. Like, he made a bold statement. I will not, even though he did it anyway, but he made a bold statement that says I will do X, Y, and Z for the people who vote for me. No new taxes. So why can't Biden go the same route and says I will do X, Y, and Z for you, or and not just a study looking into it, not like HR 40 where they're looking into reparations, like something concrete.
Yeah.
On paper.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason he doesn't do it is because he knows it'll turn off white people, and that is a slap in the face to black people.
So Shay says it's not just a vote for Biden, it's a vote for federal judges, it's a vote for the next Secretary of Education, etc.
Yes, Shay.
Well, I want to jump to what is currently happening that was not a part of our agenda until it happened. But I wanted to bring up some of the stuff that happened this weekend, which was pretty sad. The first one was Amy Cooper, who decided she was going to call the police on a black man because he told her to put the leash on her dog. Did you guys hear about those stories?
I heard about her. Yeah, I saw the video too.
I'm not going to show the video. I will pull up a picture just because, I just don't want to give her that much time.
Well, she backpedaled when she got fired, and then she came up
and lost the dog.
Yeah.
The company, the dog pound for taking that dog back.
Yeah.
White people mad when they take your dog.
So what do you guys, because she did apologize, she got fired, she lost her job. So my question for you is, do you think that her apology was meaningful?
No.
No.
Go on.
She apologized because she
talk about it.
Apologize. She ain't sorry.
Yeah,
Janora, talk about it, baby. Tell her.
She's full of shit.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely.
The scary and the frustrating part about it is that she's probably one of these white women who have black friends who don't have a problem with black people. And it is so evident through this video and through her actions that that's not really the case. But I think that's the dangerous part of all of this. It's not this conscious recognition of your biases and your prejudices. It's what really just runs underneath the surface. That's always been. And that's part of the people who are former teachers. I saw this meme today, or this post today that made sense. And it was, Amy Cooper is my teacher, or was my teacher. Amy Cooper was my HR lady. Like, all these people on the surface who like black people, don't have a problem with black people, but you put them in a corner but no, she wasn't even in a corner. You put them in a situation where their real feelings come out.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
I have to say, I'm not lost on the idea that the guy's name was Christian Cooper, and the way, if you listen to his voice, the way he elocutes himself, the way he spoke, his tone of voice, when she said, I'm going to call the cops on you, she goes, do it. If it was someone with a different voice, someone like myself, who maybe have a deeper voice, or speaking colloquialisms or what have you, and said, do that shit, I wouldn't have curried the same favors amongst white people as he did. And I think because they can relate to how he presented himself, he got their sympathy. Where if it was someone like me who speaks differently, whose tone is different, if I would have said it, they probably would have said I was threatening her. Just by the voice, based on my voice, by the way I speak, even if the situation was exactly the same.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think I really feel like there should be more damage. There needs to be a law. I think that's what we need to put on Joe Biden's agenda, is when people do things like this, they should get fined. They should go to jail. They should be the ones that are put in jail. Something needs to happen. Otherwise, this is going to continue on until there is a change that happens.
Well, not only that, if a cop shows up, you have no way of knowing if he ends up like George Floyd.
Yeah.
Well, white woman calls cop, and the cop shows up, and it's almost like the bigger the black man is, the more they want to take him down. You know what I mean? It's like they're hunting. You know, it's and see, I believe that David Duke sent all of his KKK guys out to the north to join the institutions like the police department, like the fire department. So you have that racism running through the institutions. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised because they actually historically they did that in California.
They did.
Where they brought a lot of racist, redneck KKK people from the South, Texas, what have you, and had them join the police force in LA in what was like the 1940s, 1920s, something like that.
If you ever watch a movie called The Bastards of the Party, it actually talks about how racism, how cops were pulled from the South to California so that they could racially profile, as well as the gangs actually starting because of the newspapers and the CIA and all of them putting the NAACP and all of the Black organizations against each other through the newspaper by caricatures. And then that's how they started to split. And then gangs started to form. But if you take a look at that movie, it was almost nominated, got down to the last 8 as far as Oscars. It almost got nominated for an Oscar. So you should check it out. It'll give you a little bit more information about that. What were you going to say?
The thing is, they don't release the cop's name. Do you know the name of the cop that did this?
No.
I found it on the internet.
You know the name George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the structure of the establishment to protect policemen is they don't release the policeman's name. Now, it just so happens that recently, this afternoon, when I was watching television, they released the cop's name who put his knee on his neck, and he is going to be charged with murder. That was on the news tonight.
Oh, wow.
And his name is Derek Chauvin, Chauvin, Chauvin. Derek Chauvin was the white police officer, and the mayor did this. The mayor of Minneapolis is indicting him, but there were 3 other cops that stood by, and those names have not been released. Those names have not been, and I bet you a dime to a dollar, Derek Chauvin has some kind of white supremacy connection.
Actually, they posted on they already posted some of the other, not through the media, but through internet detectives. They posted like one of the guys, the Asian guy's last name was Cho. I can't remember his first name, and they they showed that the guy who put his knee on the guy's neck was a number one. He was a Trump supporter. He was walking around with a hat that says "Make white people great again," and like they said that he had a history of I believe he had 7 different complaints from citizen complaints, and so I don't know. I'm numbed by a lot of this stuff. After the Tamir Rice incident, I kind of stopped feeling about a lot of this stuff. I have no feelings about any of this stuff. Like once you can shoot a little 12-year-old boy in the park, what's left? Like how am I supposed to feel about any of this stuff? It's the Wild West out here, and I'm not. Please don't make this as me castigating all police officers, because it's not all police officers. I don't want to put them all in the same barrel. But I mean, seeing these events happen over and over and over. Like I said, I was in New York, Brooklyn. I've been stopped and frisked before. I've been thrown up against the wall and all that other foolishness, and back in Jersey and stopped by the cops for walking or fitting the description. And I don't have a record for anything. So, I mean, but I do have to say that Tamir Rice incident, just when he gunned down a little 12-year-old boy in the park for playing with a toy gun, it's anybody can get it.
Yeah.
For myself, I'm married to a cop, right? And sometimes I'll admit these conversations are very tricky to have in my home, but they're necessary to have because we got to go to bed together at night. and have a life. And so I need to make sure that we're on the same team. So with every incident that has happened, I have had those hard conversations. And sometimes it ends up not hearing what I feel like taking a full stand, because there are other things like tactics and that become a part of the conversation that I don't see. With the George Floyd incident, hands down, we had that conversation yesterday, and it was very important for me to enter into this conversation with the full knowledge of what a police officer would say, right? I feel like that's the value I'm bringing to the table, because as a Black woman, I can tell you all day how I feel. So let me share with you my conversation with my wife, and then also her partner, because she thought it was very important that I talk to a Black male cop about his feelings or his perspective, just in case there is something different. But in terms of what she shared as a cop, she said, and he said, that both incidents, not both, there were multiple incidents, but the incident with George, rest his soul, after he was apprehended, after he was restrained, that should have been it. Like, and in fact, if they had to take him to the ground, they're not leaving him in that position. By tactics or what they learn in at the academy, they have to sit them back up. So right there, that was wrong. He said they would never pronounce him dead on the scene. He was murdered right there on the scene, but they could not say that as the officers right there. Basically, I'm making this a long story. He was dead ass wrong. Every cop I talked to said he was dead ass wrong. And that's what it takes. It takes the cops to say this is dead ass wrong, and the people inside to say, just like we were talking about with Amy Cooper / Karen and white people recognizing the wrong and taking the stand, it also needs to be inside the circle in terms of changing the system. You can't stand by, even though it might be your fraternity as a cop, and turn a blind eye. It's time to take a stand and call what it is, and it's wrong, and that's murder. And for this instance, to take it a bit further in terms of solutions, we were talking about voting earlier, the importance of voting, not just presidency for the court system, but also locally. When it comes to charging a cop, like you said, Ted, it takes the mayor saying this is what needs to happen, or the district attorney. Right now, LAPD has got a case that it's up to Jackie Lacey, the district attorney, to say, all right, this is going to be criminally charged. That's who we vote for. That's what we have a chance to change. Now, granted, you still got voter suppression and a lot of other racist shit, even at that level. But at least with our vote, we can put in people that can say that's going to be criminally charged as a police officer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was really long and
short.
No,
that was
informative.
And let's see. So someone posted, my dad was a cop. There are good ones and bad ones. Those cops in Minnesota are incompetent. So
absolutely,
yeah.
No,
well, there were three other cops watching. That's what's criminal. All the guy had to do was go over and say, "Hey, buddy, we got him." They wouldn't. They let that guy continue. And that's what's criminal, is there three other men in uniform that did not stop that guy.
So
I saw, just to clear up something, I saw a comment by one in the chat room that said that Snoop debunked the idea that the hat that I saw that said "Make White Great Again," that it was fake. It was fake news. So I want to clear that up while we're here. So, but I did see him at a Trump rally. I did see him with a "Make America Great Again" hat. So maybe they might have switched it up. But the woman on there said Snoop debunked it. So let's take it off the table. If he didn't do it, then
I want to open it up to you guys. If you guys want to chime in through Facebook or Instagram, I'm sending the link right now in the chat box. You guys can click on that link if you want to come in and join in, and if you have anything that you need to say right here. Okay, so somebody just came in. I have Michelle. Michelle is joining. Hi, Michelle.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. So anything you want to say about what's happening, what's going on? Anything that we've talked about?
I think I mirror each and one of your sentiments with regard to, being numb to these images that we're seeing on a regular basis. It's almost like we're being conditioned to normalize seeing our, brown and black people being brutalized live on live on video. It's unfortunate. There's so many layers that we would have to uncover to make this right. I don't know if I'll be here. I'd be lucky if I do get to see that change. I'm a mother. I have a son who I think about often in these situations. I think that it's unfortunate that you essentially have to, watch your life. You have to be able to protect yourself simply by just walking down the street. So
right.
I do concur with all of you guys' messages.
Nice. No, I really appreciate you chiming in and giving your opinion. I think it's really important, and that's why we created this platform, for people to be able to speak out and say, and hopefully somebody will see this, and if they were thinking one way, they might change their mind on the way that they process, or maybe somebody like an Amy Cooper might change the way that she reacts to people of color. So thank you for chiming in.
Actually, hold on. I got a question for Michelle. Your son, did you have that conversation with him about what happens when he walks out the door? And if so, what did you have to say to him?
So, the interesting thing about this new generation is they think that they're invincible. And although those conversations are being had on a regular basis, there's certain caveats that come into play with him. He was a star athlete in high school. His father was a star athlete in the same town in New Jersey. All of the cops are like friends and family. It's a very small town community. So he didn't really feel that sense of fear in his community, because, the community is his friend. They're at their games and so on and so forth. And I tried to explain to him, he is away from home, explaining to him that, you're not in New Jersey anymore. You're not in this like incubated space where you're protected by people who know your dad and your dad's dad. So it's an ongoing conversation. It's not something that you sit down and have one conversation and he gets it. I think a lot of it has to do with, unfortunately, sometimes when things happen that are much closer to home, they tend to, get a little bit more serious about their actions and what they're doing. But he understands you're Black. When people see you, you're Black, and it's dangerous to be a Black man in America these days. And that sounds, cliche in a way, but it's really our reality today. So, I'm going to continue having the talks and encouraging him to do the right thing and pick right friends too, and be around people who are of like mind, because I think also if you're with groups of people who don't have that same culture and understanding of needing to protect yourself, needing to make the right decisions. I'll tell a quick story. So he grew up in a town where it was just, mainly Caucasian people, fairly mixed. Those were his friends. And so they would do things around Halloween where they would like egg homes and, things that children do.
Yeah.
And I explained to him that if you're in a group of all your buddies, so they're all your buddies, and you're the only brown or Black man in that group, you are going to be single-handedly handpicked from the group.
Yes.
And just explaining to him that there are these, the optics of certain things are very, very powerful. And hopefully I can get into his mind so that he can be as safe as he can be.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your comment. I'm going to bring Erica in. Hopefully, Erica, you are ready. I don't see your profile on there. Thank you, Michelle, for chiming in.
Thank you, guys.
I was curious to know just how old is your son?
He's 19.
19. Yeah, nice. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again for joining in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. We have Erica here. Let me add Erica.
Hello. I don't know what's going on with my camera.
No worries.
But I just want to say something really quick. It's really important as parents that we teach our kids that the most powerful weapon that you can have is your mind. So if you want to see change, you really need to get in the system. I need to see more Black cops, more Black firefighters, more Black people that can actually make a change instead of just sitting on your couch liking these videos and spreading these videos, be part of the change. I think that in our Black community that we've gotten so comfortable with just how things are, we forget where we started from. And that's just within the last 100 years. So it's really important to teach our kids more about a spiritual and an education thing that we're going on. It's not about the big, it's not about, fancy cars. It's not about the bling. It's not about, having all these hoes, as you want to say. It's really about getting your education and being part of the change and making your own path. As parents, we know that there's white teachers that do not like Black students. Are you educating your kids at home? Or are you dependent on people that don't like you to make a difference in your child's life? So I think that for our community, we just gotta remember where we started and just don't forget. It's been like within 100 years. Segregation in Oklahoma ended in the late 70s. And our grandparents had experienced that, but they're not passing down that knowledge, which is generational wealth, to make a change. So only thing that we're doing in our Black community, we're going backwards. And it's really nobody to blame but our own selves, because we are not getting angry enough to hit the books and get hands-on. We got to get off. We got to get out there in a positive way, not starting fights with the cops, not acting. We're doing exactly what they wanted to do.
Right. No, that's
I got to push back on that. I got to push back on some of that.
Okay, go ahead.
Education is good. Education is good, but the guy who was profiled in New York went to Harvard. So, and to say that Black people aren't doing enough, they are systematic. The COINTELPRO is a real thing. They systematically put people in neighborhoods to get our leaders out of here. They killed a lot of our leaders. They put miseducation in our neighborhoods. So to say that we aren't doing enough I can't rock with that. No, it's not true. There are a lot of people who are doing a lot of things and they don't get the shine and the light the people who do the negative stuff do. They're, the police officers, there was 100, what they call a group called 100 Black officers or whatever it is, going around neighborhoods and helping the community, integrating themselves with people. There are social activists doing a lot of great work. There are a lot of great programs out there educating people to do stuff. But you're taken away from the fact that there are a lot of forces who economically depend on our deprivation. They depend on us being a bottom caste. So they will do a lot of things to keep their foot on our neck and keep us as the bottom caste and not allow us to grow. So it isn't just us not having education or not knowing enough. You gotta acknowledge the fact that there are systems and people out there who are making a concerted effort to stop us.
All right, Erica, thank you for your time. I have a couple more people and we only have a couple more minutes. So thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erica.
All right. Let me add in Anthony. I'll take two more and then we're gonna end it and wrap it up. All right, so we have Anthony Carr in the house.
Hey,
Anthony.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, so I'm gonna limit this to 1 minute. So let's get to our points a little bit quicker. What you got?
Well, mostly, I've been listening to everybody. I've been saying what's been said all morning. Now, one of the things is that the situation with the with the cops, and that's one of my things is about 9 or 10 cops sitting there watching one guy kill somebody, and none of them are accountable. And that's my one thing out of everything I've been posting this morning to say is they need to start to hold themselves accountable. So if there are good cops, like people are saying, I know good cops, those good cops need to come forward. And when they see that, they're standing there, they have the evidence running in their face, they need to take their handcuffs out and put their handcuffs around that dude who had his hand in his pocket and arrest him for attempted murder before another Black man dies.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem.
Right. Let me bring in one more person and then we're going to wrap it up in a minute.
You're bringing that in, just built into his question is also having the accountability for cops to not just lose their job, but lose their freedom as well.
Yeah, they should. Yeah, if it's murder, they should be tried.
So we have Natasha McCray.
Hey, y'all. Thank you guys so much.
Natasha.
Thank you for doing this. I love this. I love this. I love this. I was just going to piggyback on what Janora just said is when that guy had his knee on his neck, he was not thinking, I will never see my family again. He was not thinking that. And if we had those systems in place for that, they are going to be held accountable and he knows his livelihood will be changing, I think that there will be certain things that are done differently. So it has to be, I mean, we have to go really, really deep in this because this is such a systematic problem. But how, I mean, where do we start? Besides now with them, trying him for this, but like, what do you do? What do we do besides tearing stuff up?
What do you think about the idea that, from the cop standpoint, because I remember the whole Eric Garner situation in New York, and the police union had a beef with the mayor, and they purposely said that they were going to start doing less work and not doing solving as many crimes, what have you, because of the repercussions that happened to that officer because he got fired and what have you. So how am I trying to say this? How do you go against a system that will say, if we don't do it our way, then we're not going to do shit?
Oh, yeah. Well, that goes back to rooting them out. Nobody, everyone says the union. You don't say John Doe who runs the union. You got to make those guys accountable. So if John Doe, then everyone has to know that John Doe who runs the police union is instigating this. We know who the mayor is. But the other thing, and this is part of the game of the establishment, is they keep it anonymous. And that's why you have a lot of times citizens that go, well, he was up against the police, and the police are basically good people. No, he was up against Derek Chauvin. Who happens to be a cop. But this man, see, once you individualize, then you have to address that individual, that person. And right now, they stay hidden in a system that is, it's anonymous.
And it supports that. I mean, it's anonymous, so it just breeds more of that. But in the situation of, all of them getting together and saying, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that. I mean, if they ran it, I know this is going to probably not fare well with certain people, but if they ran it like a corporation, when another company buys another company, they get rid of everybody. And if that's the case, then you get rid of everybody and bring new people in and you do reform. And I know that might sound radical and crazy, but there has to be some level of risk that we have to take in order to make some change. And if we're not willing to take that risk, then, I mean, we're still going to be dealing with this for more years.
And take their money. When they get to they talk about that pension. They take that money. They'll straighten up and fly right.
You say something like that,
money, man. Because they're going to be 65 years old and aching and hurting and ain't got no money coming in. Come on.
Thank you, Natasha,
about that. Thank you. I love you guys, all of you. Thank you for bringing your word here. Appreciate it.
All right.
Let me just post one more thing. Don Swaby has had a lot that he was writing in. I just want to make sure that I get a chance to post that on there. It's he's been making some really good points about all the things that we could be doing, what needs to be happening here. So now, with that being said, we want to end on a.
We got to get Don on the show so you can break that down.
I know. Don Swaby, he played my boyfriend on Passions, one of my greatest friends there.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. But before we get into that, we always want to make sure that we end with something positive. So, I always like to do something called the BPS Person of the Week. And when I was doing Black People Shit, when it was just, just a little vlog, I always wanted to end with something positive. So the person that we are going to end with for our BPS Person of the Week is no other than celebrity DJ D Nice. Now, I know that having to live under the restrictions in these quarantine times isn't easy for anyone. The anxiety of having to stay home, the uncertainty of the job market, and the inability to see the ones you love have made all of us a bit stressed. But D-Nice is trying his best to spread a little love by making us one nation under a groove. With his weekly Insta Live dance parties, he's allowed everyone to forget about their woes and dance their problems away. I know I've done it on several nights myself. And with everyone from Janet Jackson to P. Diddy to Michelle Obama, they all joined the party. And it's no wonder that he is deemed as America's favorite DJ. So all that you're doing to keep our spirits up and keeping us dancing, D-Nice is our BPS person of the week.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
Absolute shout out to D-Nice. But you know who else gets a honorable mention?
Who?
Never started Versus. That has given me
right? We went back and forth.
Versus Erica, Chuck's Beanie Man.
Yeah, the Beanie Man was good.
And D-Nice, like you said, started it off. He had 100,000. I remember that episode when we were like, can we get to 50? Can we get to 75, 100? That Versus had 750,000 from Jamaica this past weekend.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I gotta give a shout out to Timbaland and Swizz Beats. Those are the two gentlemen who started the Versus battle. It's Timbaland and Swizz Beats.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Abdul and I were trying to go back and forth on do we give it to D-Nice or do we give it to them? And so
yeah.
I'm glad I slipped on in there with the we didn't even talk about that. See there, black people?
Yeah.
Yes.
On the same page.
Yes. Yeah. So let me just make sure I just give a couple of little, as we say, thank you. I'm going to say thank you for everybody who came in. I just want to make sure I show some of these. Everybody like D-Nice. Yeah.
Hey, Janora, you and Ted, what are your socials? What do you guys got going on? What's going on with you guys? Anything to promote?
Well, I'm doing. I wrote a new play called Shakespeare Over My Shoulder, and we're going to do a Zoom reading of it, and we're going to put it up on YouTube, and it'll be up on YouTube next week. Just look for my name and the name Shakespeare. They're synonymous. But it's a fun play, and I promise you some good laughs if you listen to it.
Yes. And how about you, Chidora?
Yeah, so in this space of quarantine, I have learned to do things that I want to do. And sometimes those things aren't necessarily in the realm as an actress. Now, it might be if my name was synonymous with Shakespeare. But long story short, me and my wife, we bought a boat and we're doing some things outside of the realm of that. So our entertainment is private entertainment, as in you can come down, drink some wine, smoke some cigars, and hang out on a boat, get a tour. So if you're in the
do you need a bartender, Janora?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have some experience.
You have some experience?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, on a boat.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind, Ted. Oh, right. Now that'd be a really great thing down. So we'll talk about that, Ted.
Okay.
Anyway, cashmereandgoldentertainment.com is our website and also our Instagram handle. If you want to find out more about what we do, if you're in Southern California, you want to check us out and hang out with us. And we're going to try to get Ted down there too, occasionally to hang out with our bartender.
There you go. Somebody asked you, Ted, are you going to do the George Washington play as a film?
As soon as I get the money, if that person has the money, I'll do it.
There you go.
Well, I love it too because I did it. So I don't know if I've outgrown it, but I love that play. Definitely one of my favorites. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed tonight, this talk that we had over the hour, I know we're 2 minutes over. Make sure you put it in the comments that you guys enjoyed it. Please share, and definitely come back next week, next Wednesday, where we will have more great, interesting guests. I want to thank Janora for being on here with me, my sister. I want to, hey, Evan. I didn't realize that was you. Yes, and of course, Ted Lange, who is my mentor, my friend, who always puts me in everything. Thank you for saying, Khalid, that this was so dope. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But again, have a great week. Please be safe. Don't forget, Corona is the new STD, so keep your behinds at home.
Ooh.
And yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday, 4 p.m., 7 p.m., or whatever time zone you're on. Thank you, Abdul Majid, who comes up with a lot of the material and stuff for us to chat about. So he's an incredible writer if you guys are looking for one. Incredible director over here with Ted Lange, and incredible actress over there with Janora. So come hang out with us. Yeah.
Shout out to Tangerine and Twerk Circus. If you have not seen,
yes,
my
other
Changes
sister,
lives.
yes,
Changes lives.
Listen, Tangerine has this show called, what is it? Twerk. Well, she's got Twerk City.
Twerk Circus.
She's a judge on Twerk
She's a host on there, right? Judge, but she has her own show. Where there's a talent show that she's doing. There's a dating show that she's doing. Gosh, Tangerine, what else you got going on over there?
Hey, Tangerine, I'm single, so I'm volunteering myself for the dating show. I'm out here in these Corona streets, and it ain't like it used to be because I got a virtual date now, and I'm not. So I'm volunteering myself right now, especially for Twerk Circus. If you got a spot for a judge on Twerk Circus, you got me all day, fam.
You are so crazy. Anyway, so she's got a couple of shows, and then Karen Ward Ross, she has a show at noon on Wednesdays, just sipping up on some tea and stuff like that. So if you get a chance to check us out, we all about supporting one another. So thank you.
I believe it's called meditation. It's called meditation. I saw it today. Very inspiring. It was great content. I loved it. So
yep. All right, so we're going to sign on out. Thank you so much. All of you guys stay on here. We're going to leave the studio, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, everybody.